Let's debunk some myths. Abortion is a quick and simple way to end a pregnancy without consequences. Abortion is the termination of pregnancy, resulting in the death of the unborn human being, often referred to embryo or fetus. How many of you feel kind of weird when people use the term fetus? Okay. Let me put you at ease real fast. Fetus is like saying you're a teenager. Fetus, the word fetus actually means little man. It's not a medical term. It's not a slang term. It's not something that the pro-choice community made up to make fun of us or confuse anything or whatever. Fetus just means little man, so don't be worried about using the word fetus. We have a fetus, an infant, a baby, a teenager. So calling the unborn a fetus is like calling a teenager a teenager. Make sense? Cool. Now when you use the word tissue, I'm going to get mad. Makes sense? And we'll go over that in a second. So the unborn is just a blob of tissue also in the womb, and there is no life present. The facts is that from the moment of conception, the unborn is a live and distinct human being. Let's go into this. Yes, we get to figure out how you came to be. Who's taken biology ever in your life? Okay, so you kind of understand this a little bit. The sperm and the egg unite to create a new human being, and this is my favorite part, because this is what we talk about at the table most. And what I love about having these conversations with people, because we put this up and it says, when does human life begin? And this is the only thing that I put in there now, but we will have every day of development, we'll write in what's happening. So this will be a pretty cool thing later. But this point, conception, when the sperm and the egg unite, it is not a fertilized egg. Makes sense? The egg is not a fertilized egg. It becomes something totally unique, something totally different. It becomes a zygote. You came to be at that moment. You came to be at the moment of conception. Everything that you are now was present at that very moment. So when we say we believe life begins at conception, what we mean is that you're not a blob of tissue. You're not a skin cell. You're not you're not a part of the woman's body. You're not a part of your father's body. A sperm is a part of the father's body. An ovum, the egg, is a part of the mother's body. But when they unite, something incredible happens. They become one, and you come to be. It is now completely different from the mother, completely different from the father. It is individual, meaning indivisible. You came to be at that moment. So, I love that. You have 46 unique chromosomes. You probably all know this. Full DNA in place that determines every physical characteristic of the person. What you do is you are in the fallopian tube as of now, but you pass down the fallopian tube, and about 7 to 14 days you implant into the uterus wall. Y'all know this, right? I know I'm going over a little bit. But the reason I go over this is so we can talk semantics for a second. When we talk about pregnancy, a lot of people like to say that, well, pregnancy begins when the zygote, the embryo, implants into the uterine wall. And the reason they say that is because that's when HCG, the hormone, goes right to the mother's brain, and she starts putting out progesterone to start feeding you. Make sense? You have attached to the uterine wall, and that's when she gets that signal. But what they don't tell you is that at the moment of conception, something along the same lines happens. I can't remember the hormone, but if you want to know, I'll tell you. We can detect when the moment of conception happens. We know that a woman is pregnant at that point, and people will get in an argument of when does pregnancy begin. Okay, we believe that pregnancy begins at the moment of conception because embryology says that. Makes sense? There's a completely alive, distinct human being at the moment of conception, not when you attach to the uterine wall. So anyway, that's my little story. But the reason I bring up wisdom teeth is because how much did it cost for your wisdom teeth to be extracted? Anyone have any idea? How much?
It's like $2,000.
It's like $2,000.
1,500, something like that.
Do you know how much it costs to have an abortion? It's around $300. $300. And and your wisdom teeth cost about $2 grand. Let's say that. So when people say it's no more invasive than getting your teeth pulled, what they're really talking about is that it's not that expensive. Makes sense? But they're using the word invasive to throw people off. And the reason I say throw people off is not because I'm a conspiracy theorist, but there is a conspiracy. I've seen it, and I'm here to tell you. So that's what we're here to unfold. So anyway, abortion is a simple surgery that is no more invasive than having a tooth pulled. Abortion is a very violent and extremely invasive act, and I'll show you the medical pictures in just a second. I'll tell you when they come up, in case you want to look away. RU-486, you ever heard of it? This is the first abortion procedure that we'll talk about. Taken up to 5 weeks after conception, so 7 weeks gestation. Mifeprex. Have y'all heard of RU-486? Anyone heard about this? Okay, y'all have. What happens is they will come into the abortion clinic, and if you've ever been to the abortion clinic, in the state of Louisiana, what you have to do is, if you're going in to get an abortion, you go in for your first appointment, and they find out if you're pregnant or not. So you do the test and stuff. And then your next appointment is to come in and get 2 pills. You receive 2 pills, and this is RU-486. Or the other drug called Ella. Have y'all heard of Ella? You've seen the commercials for Ella. It's the same sort of thing. So they come in and they get 2 pills. One they take in the clinic, and then they're given one to take home and take. And what happens in the clinic is the first pill cuts off all nutrients, so it starves the baby. And then the next pill, they take it home, and the woman will start having violent contractions, and will usually pass the baby in the toilet or wherever she is. And what they'll tell you, and if you look at Planned Parenthood, or if you look at any abortion clinics website, they'll say it's like a normal miscarriage, what you would have at home. How many of you know anyone who's had a miscarriage? How many of them have passed it off as just something normal? It just happens. No, my mom had a miscarriage. It's very traumatic. You know why? Because she bled on the way to the hospital and saw the baby when it came out. And obviously it wasn't an abortion, but she's still very traumatized by that. And the reality is that women who have these will pass the baby in the toilet and they'll see it. And it takes hours and hours and hours to do that for some women. Obviously it's different cases. But the idea that this is just something simple, that is just like a woman starting her period again, is not the truth. And it's pretty dangerous. And then they will have to go back to the abortion clinic to, first of all, see if she did abort the baby, or if it's still in there, if the placenta is still in there. Because if it still is, then she will have to have a surgical abortion, which we'll cover in a second. So when you go in, the first thing is that they say, it's going to be fine. I'm going to give you 2 pills, you'll start your period. No big deal. But if you don't, you have to sign this saying that when you come back, we'll do the suction abortion. I know a girl from Florida. This happened to her. She was told that she was 6 weeks along. She was actually 10 weeks along. They gave her RU-486. She went home, she bled, but she didn't pass the baby. Went back in and had to have the surgical abortion, and now she can't have kids anymore. I know this girl. She's completely infertile.